my name is Hido and welcome to the Pantheon, where today we're having a look at a rather interesting ranger from Dungeons and Dragons. And he's got a pet. It's Minsc, which I believe is actually a place in Germany or Switzerland maybe. I believe it's a town sort of thing. But anyway, it's Minsc, beloved ranger. A red, a green and a white, so he's Mardu. It is a human ranger. When he enters the battlefield, create a Boo, legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. 1/1s with trample, you've gotta love them. Then you can pay X until end of turn. Type creature you control has base parenthesis XX and becomes a giant in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery, so that would be really cool at instant speed. But the fact that you can only activate it as a sorcery, not that big of a deal. You can still do a lot of really cool things with it. This guy is awesome. You know, who doesn't love a little hamster? Like the artwork looks absolutely incredible and so cute. And, you know, there's quite a few interesting things that we can do with him. And the name itself, Minsc and Boo, absolutely wonderful. If you like these videos, please do consider subscribing. I'm going to make one for every single legendary creature I've ever printed. But they're going to take a while because there's a lot of them. So I'll get through them eventually. Without further ado, let's have a look a bit further into Minsc. And at number 5, we've got Tristani Discordant. And this card and these sort of set of cards are all about buffing your team because we're going to be making a 1/1 and we've got a 3/3. So we want to go wide and, you know, have a nice little token synergy because if our commander makes a token, well, we want to make more tokens and then we can make them into big giants using the commander's ability. It's a 5-mana 1/4. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. And it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. Also, at the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. Now, that ability is fantastic. You know, you can get into a lot of situations where people steal your cards, you know, especially with Xanathar, I think it is, the blue-black legendary that steals cards from your deck. Well, this can help you get them all back. So, really powerful effect. Then we've got Angel of Jubilation, triple white and 1 for a 3/3 with flying. Other non-black creature you control get +1/+1. Players can't pay life or sacrifice creatures to cast spells or activate abilities. Now that's not really going to affect us at all. You know, maybe if you're playing fetch lands it will. But other than that, everyone's just going to be utterly miserable with this. Birthing pods, they can't do it. You can't sacrifice for parts of combos. This can really shut down your opponents in a lot of different ways. And give a lovely buff to all of our token dudes. Then we've got Maja, Bretagard Protector. 5 mana for a 2/3. Other creature you control get +1/+1. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, get a 1/1 human warrior creature token. So it'll be a 2/2. And this just offers us a ton of value, giving us a buff to our team, and we're going to be playing lands. We're playing green. A lot of our ramp is going to be land-based, so we're going to be putting extra lands into play, and we just get a load of tokens, you know, creates a little army, gets swinging in there for tons of damage. Finally, Angel of Invention, 5 mana for a 2/1. It's got flying, vigilance, and lifelink, so it's a nice little attacker, say if our planeswalkers no, our opponents are playing planeswalkers. And then it has Fabricate 2, which means it can either enter with 2 1/1 counters on it, or create 2 1/1 color servo artifact creature tokens. Then other creatures you control get +1/+1. So a nice little buff, and it can make a little army in a can. The artwork's wonderful. Look at all those swords. Just really nice. Which brings me on to number 4. And at number 4, we've got Sigil Captain. So our commander makes a 1/1, and this card helps us buff up all our 1/1s. Like all the cards I just talked about, yes, they give a sort of static pump, but a lot of token generators just create 1/1s by themselves. So this can help make our Boo a bit bigger. 4 mana for a 3/3 whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control. If that creature is a 1/1, put 2 1/1 counters on it. And it's a Rhino Soldier. I love the artwork on this. I love how sort of blocky he is. He just looks so enormous and so massive. I love it. It's just so cool. I'm just a big fan. Another couple of ways to sort of take advantage of it. Secure the Waste is an absolutely fantastic token generator. A white and X instant, put X 1/1 white warrior creature tokens onto the battlefield. So this can just flood the board, create absolutely tons of value. There's a version of this card, it's in green and white and has Convoke. And if we have a token army already, that is just even better. Multitudes, something like that. I can't remember. But another way to sort of take advantage of all these 1/1s here, we just have a couple of basic 1/1s on the field, is Pendelhaven Elder. 2 mana for a 1/1 itself. Each 1/1 creature you control gets +1/+2 until end of turn. So this is a nice little buff, can really pump up the team, and then we can get swinging in. Say, if we're playing against another token deck, we can make our tokens bigger so that they trade up. Then the card that card is based on, Pendelhaven, is a legendary land, taps for a green, comes in untapped as well, and target 1/1 creature gets +1/+2 until end of turn. So we can use this on our Boo token to make it into a 2/3, then activate it, making Boo into a giant. Really, really nice, and a nice static little buff. And because it's a land, you just get tons of value out of it. 3 mana. No, wait. Number 3. Number 3, we've got Realm Cloaked Giant. 7 mana for a giant with vigilance. However, you can cast it for its adventure cost, which is a 5 mana sorcery. Destroy all non-giant creatures. Then exile this card. You may cast the creature later from exile. So this really takes advantage of the fact that our commander's activated ability, we can use it as many times as we want, on as much as you've got mana, and we can use it on the creatures and make them into giants. So the cast off ability will not destroy any of our creatures. Really, really excellent one-sided board wipe, and a great use of the adventure mechanic. To go along with this, another couple of ways to take advantage of the fact that things are going to be giants. Sunrise Sovereign is a 6 mana 5/5. Other giant creatures you control get +2/+2 and have trample. So again, we just need to pay 1 mana to make our 1/1 into a 1/1 giant. But then when this is on the field, it'll get an additional +2/+2 and have trample. So a really nice buff, you can just spread the 1 manas around, make all your tokens into giants, and then just plow in for tons of damage. Then we've got Calamity Bearer, 4 mana for a 3/4. Giant Berserker. If a giant source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, deals double that damage to that permanent player instead. So again, another great use of the fact that everything's going to become a giant. And because Boo has trample baseline, we can end up trampling over for massive damage because it's a giant hamster thingy-majigger. Finally, Borderland Behemoth, 7 mana for a 4/4 with trample, gets +4/+4 for each other giant you control. So this can be absolutely devastating, an absolutely colossal attacker, and just ends the game. And because it has trample, you can really get in there. I love it. Which brings me to number 2, and our commander's ability has an X in it. So why don't we take advantage of some X abilities and X sort of spells? Unbound Flourishing, 3 mana for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a permanent spell with mana value that contains X, double the value of X. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell or activate an ability, if that spell's mana cost or the ability's mana cost contains X, copy that spell or ability. You may choose new targets for that copy. So with this on the field, our commander's ability, say we pump 7 mana into it, well, we get to make 2 things into 7/7 giants. And we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to really use this to the best of its ability. It's even better when we're using it to 1, just make things into giants. Well, for each 1 mana, 2 things are going to be giants. Really, really cool. To go along with this, a couple of X cost sort of abilities here. Mirror Entity, 3 mana for a shapeshifter. It's a changeling, so it's a baseline giant. Ooh, lovely. Pay X. Until end of turn, creature you control have base parent of XX and gain all creature types. So this is very much what our commander is doing, but this is an en masse version of it. And it becomes everything. It's a oofy wizard. I was going to try to think of a really bizarre creature type and wizard. Ugh, how pathetic. You can become a Hydo like me. Oh, look at that. Very nice. But this is exactly the sort of card you want. And, works really nice with any X cost increaser. Then we got Hydra Broodmaster, which really works on the sort of token side of things. 6 mana for a 7/7 with Monstrosity Green double X. A Monstrosity could be X. So if it becomes monstrous, if it isn't monstrous, you pay that, and it gets X 1/1 counts on it. And when it becomes monstrous, create XX Green Hydra creature tokens. So with Unbound Flourishing on the field, that's going to double everything. We're going to have absolutely ridiculous amounts of tokens. Boo's going to be surrounded by Hydras. It's going to be looking around going, whoa, what's going on? But it'll end up winning us the game. Then we've got Verdanloth the Ancient. 6 mana for a 4/7 with kicker of X. So you may pay additional X when you cast a spell. Sapling creatures and other tree folk creatures get +1/+1. So that's not going to buff everything, but say if you did use Mirror Entity to make everything into everything, it will make them into a sapling. So we're going to buff them that way. A bit of a convoluted way, but you can. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, put X 1/1 green sapling creature tokens onto the battlefield. So another great token maker, going to absolutely splurge tokens onto the field, and this is an anthem in itself for all of those tokens. Then a slightly different card here, Benelish Commander, is a 4 mana star. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of soldiers you control. Has suspend X, so you can pay double white and X can't be 1, and you put it into exile with time counts on it, then each upkeep you remove a time counter and you get an effect. In this instance, whenever a time counter is removed from it while it's in exile, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So another nice sort of incidental token creator. We're going to make them over and over again. Every turn, we're going to get tons of 1/1s. Oh no, actually, no, we're not getting tons. We're getting 1/1/1. But you know what I mean. It works sort of well. Roshin Meandra is a 4 mana 4/4, and you can tap it to add a colourless, and a colourless to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast I've fallen to pieces. Only on costs that contain X. So this works excellent with a commander and all of these cards that have just been shown you. So you can really build a theme around Roshin. And you know, a baseline, I'm saying baseline so much. A 4/4 for 4 is not that bad. Polluchronos World Eater, 4 mana 5/5. Ooh, slightly better than Roshin there. Has monstrosity like the card I showed you before. And it's, again, green, double X. So when it becomes monstrous, it deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures your opponents control. Each of those creatures deals damage equal to its power to Polluchronos. So this could be a board wipe on a stick. And then we end up with a massive dude that we can just start swinging in for. Really nice X cost there. Which brings me on to number 1. And I said, you know, before, the ability our command has, the X ability, you can pay 0, but then our creatures will die. But what about if they weren't our creatures? What if they're about our opponents? You know, Dave, my friend, he's always stealing creatures. You know, he's always driving along a road at night, bundles something into a car, drives off with it. I don't know what he does. But Insurrection, 8 mana for a sorcery, and tap all creatures and gain control of them until end of turn. They gain haste until end of turn. So this in itself could be a game-winning play. We could steal all the creatures. Absolutely fantastic. Well, we've got all these creatures. Let's swing in for the win. However, at the end of our combat, when we've dealt the damage, all of those creatures are going to go back to our opponents, you know, if we've not killed them. But if we start paying X being 0, on all of our opponents' creatures, they'll become 0/0 giants and die due to state-based actions if we don't have a buff, you know, on the field. So this can be absolutely wonderful and crippling for our opponents. It's not only going to deal tons of damage to them, it's a board wipe with our commander on the field. Another couple of cards like this are Mob Rule, 6 mana for a sorcery, choose 1, gain control of all creatures with power 4 or greater until end of turn, tap those creatures to gain haste until end of turn, or gain control of all creatures with base power 3, with power 3 or less, base, I'm trying to say base too much, until end of turn. Untap those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn. So again, this is another wonderful game-ending spell that we can then wipe the board of all of the creatures. Captivating Crew is a rather mana-intensive version of this. 4 mana for a 4/3 human pirate. You can pay 4, gain control of target creature, and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. So this is absolutely fantastic against commanders. Someone plays their commander, we steal it, make it attack with it, make it into a 0/0, they have to recast the commander, and then when it gets to our turn, we can steal it again. Really, really fun stuff. Molten Primordial is a 7 mana 6/4 with haste. When it's the battlefield for each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature that player controls until end of turn. And tap those creatures, they gain haste until end of turn. Amazing, absolutely devastating. You're gonna deal tons of, not damage, maybe to opponents, but emotional damage. They'll be crippled for life. That's what we want, isn't it? Then we've got Sark and Vol. 4 mana for a 4/4. +1, creature you control get +1/+1 and gain haste until end of turn. Works very well with our little token army. -2, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Absolutely fantastic with our Commander's X ability. And then -6, put 5/4/4 dragon tokens onto the battlefield. If you get to that, you're just laughing. That's an absolutely massive army, and we can just swing in, make them all into giants. That are 0/0s, kill them all. We've lost. Then there's Besmirch, a one-off effect. 3 mana for a sorcery. Until end of turn, gain control of target creature, and it gains haste. Untap, and then goad that creature. So say our commander isn't on the field, the fact that we can goad our opponent's creatures so they can't attack us helps us really get back into the game. You know, yes, their creature won't be dead, but we won't be getting attacked by it. And then finally, Mass Mutiny. 5 mana for a sorcery. For each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature that player controls until end of turn. Untap those creatures, and they gain haste until end of turn. So we can swing in and then use our commander's ability to kill the creatures. And those are my top 5 cards for Minsc and Boo. Really, really cool pairing. And it's exactly what you want out of Magic. It's just gibberish and nonsense. And there's quite a few cool interactions built into the card. I really, really like it. If you like this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe. And then tell me how many times a day you think about pineapples. I'd like to know. Thank you. Bye.